Hi, David Dalton with the Indiana Department of Transportation. I am joined this morning by Matt Deitchley. He is our Laporte District Deputy Commissioner. Thank you for taking time to speak with me this morning, Matt.
Thanks, David. Happy to do it.
So I was wondering if we could start, if you could just share your career journey, kind of where you started to where you are now professionally.
Sure. Yeah, my career path for an INDOT employee is a little different than
Mhm.
a lot of other folks because I came at it from a different angle. I actually started my first job out of college was in the TV news business.
Mm.
So I was a TV news producer for about 10 years in local television news in Terre Haute and South Bend areas. So as a television producer, essentially you write the broadcast, you do research and find out the different stories that folks are interested in that day. So I spent 10 years in radio and TV broadcasting. I spent some time as a morning radio DJ, fresh out of college as well. And so it was a lot of fun, but it wasn't necessarily where I found where my heart was doing that. So over the years, after about 10 years in the local TV news biz, one thing they don't tell you, it may look like a glamorous job, well, maybe not so much the local news, but it may look like a glamorous job for a lot of folks. But unfortunately, the hours are not conducive to families for certain. So I was fortunate enough to find the media relations director position here at the Laporte district.
Mhm.
So for those that don't know, that position essentially it's kind of the flip side of what I was doing before. It would be scheduling interviews with reporters to talk about what INDOT's initiatives are, road closings or things that we're doing as INDOT. Also running the state's social media page,
Mhm.
the district that is, social media pages, and getting the word out to the public and also the media about what INDOT is doing. So that I spent about almost 3 years doing that.
Mhm.
And I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I came in just about the time when INDOT was launching their first social media pages, which we were very lucky in the LaPorte district to have a really good following. Our right now, in fact, I can't help but brag at our success. The LaPorte district's doing a great job. We've got almost 87,000 Facebook fans right now, and that's
Wow.
like seventh in the nation for DOT pages. So we've been very fortunate and had a lot of fun with it too. And the result is a lot better informed public. So we did a great job with that, with all the team members on that. And then I transitioned to becoming the communications for the LaPorte district. And in that role, kind of overseeing a lot of what I had done as the media relations director, but also working with local officials and lawmakers and our current DVC at the time in kind of almost a chief of staff
Mhm.
type of a role that we had done here. And then I was fortunate enough to, not too long ago, about 6 months ago, become the deputy commissioner for the LaPorte district. So it wasn't a major transition. My previous role in communications, as I said, was very much like a chief of staff, and I worked very closely with the DEC. So I'm very fortunate to be in this role, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, that's it's quite a career journey from, television to where you are now. Could you talk a little bit about maybe some of your day-to-day responsibilities as deputy
Sure.
commissioner of Laporte?
Yeah, every day is a little different. I oftentimes have people ask me what I do all day, and I essentially just put out fires, I guess you could say. There's a lot of meetings, there's a lot of conversations, but ultimately, my goal in my role is to kind of help the folks that I work with to make sure they've got what they need.
Mhm.
So there's plenty of times when, despite our best efforts, our the folks in our district are not able to get the job done completely because of something that's in their way, some kind of obstruction they need help with, whether that's equipment, whether that's
Mhm.
a local official that's having challenges. And so, I do a lot of meetings, a lot of phone calls, and also just a lot of meeting with the people that do the good hard work here in our district and learning more from what they're doing and how I can help. So, a typical day, there really isn't one, but the goal of at the end of the day when I go home, my goal is to make sure that I've made things easier for the folks that do the hard work here in our district. So I'm just hoping that we can get the job done for the people of Indiana.
It's great. So, thinking back when, when you were in school, even high school, and transitioning maybe to college, I mean, did you have any idea of what you wanted to do, and maybe how did that change over time?
Sure. Yeah, if you had told me back in high school that I'd be working for INDOT in so many years later, I won't tell you how many, but yeah, I would said, what? what will I be doing there? Because I wouldn't have known the opportunities that INDOT has
Hmm.
for a wide spectrum of workers. So no, I would not have expected that. When I was in high school, my my career path was very different than what I currently am doing. I spent my time in high school doing theater and radio
Hmm.
and TV broadcasting. We had a vocational radio class where I did 7 radio shows a day. Had a lot of fun, and like I said, I did that kind of type of thing. And so, you know, to know that I'd be moving into INDOT, I would have been surprised. But I was the same way when I started INDOT here in 2012.
Hmm.
I saw a position sounded great. I was excited about it, but I thought, well, I'll get my feet wet in public relations for a while, and then we'll see what's next. And what I found when I came to INDOT is opportunities galore.
Hmm.
If you're willing to, and that's not just the position that I came in on. I truly believe whether you work in maintenance, whether you work in construction or CPM or all the different places that we have at INDOT, there's such a wide variety of positions. But if you do a good job and really care about what you're doing, you can go very far at INDOT. You can find different positions you didn't really know existed that you would even have been interested in.
Hmm.
When I started INDOT in 2012, if you said I'd be deputy commissioner today, I would have been surprised. First off, I would have said why, but also I wouldn't be sure what I would be doing and
Hmm.
how that would interest me. But I found that um, INDOT has a wonderful opportunity for so many different folks. If you just buckle down and do a good job and show good sense, that you can go far at INDOT. You have a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of, different career pathways that exist within our
Definitely.
agency and our industry as a whole. I was wondering if you could go back and give yourself a piece of advice when you were thinking about career pathways and career exploration, what would you tell yourself?
Uh, I guess I'd say not to be so hyper focused on the fun that I was having. When I was in high school, like I said, I did theater and radio, and I loved it. I had a lot of fun with it. And I thought I was going to go to college and major in acting or theater, and actually I did. I went to Ball State and I majored in acting, but luckily I was smart enough to double major, so I did some radio, TV, broadcasting, telecommunications. So that was my backup. I thought, and after about a year of doing theater, I was like, look, I don't want to be a starving actor. This is, I'm not, first off, I'm not good enough at this. Secondly, I really enjoy telling stories. And I found that while theater did that for me too, radio and TV broadcasting and telecommunications was just as effective.
Hmm.
So, you know, I, what I found was that if you broaden those horizons a little bit, and you can still have an opportunity to have some fun with the things you enjoy doing, but more importantly, use common sense. I guess that's what I would to come back to the question. I would say use good common sense about where you're moving forward. Um, I very quickly realized that the career path I thought I had in high school wouldn't have made me happy. And once I broadened those horizons and said, I'm doing an aspect of what I enjoy doing, which is
Hmm.
working with people, I found a different career path. And like I said, moving into INDOT, it wouldn't have been something I would have thought because I just didn't know the opportunities that are presented here. So yeah, just I would have told myself to use some common sense and broaden those horizons and don't be afraid of opportunities you don't quite understand. Get a chance to know them, and then you'll find out that there's some great opportunities there.
Yeah, I think that would be just great advice to go back and be able to just say use some common sense and don't be afraid to be open, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
that's so one skill, or maybe there's several skills that you have to have, and maybe even transferable skills that you had from communications director to deputy commissioner. But what would you say maybe one or two skills that are critical in your role today?
Yeah, so one thing I'm sure the people in my district are sick of hearing me say, but I say the same thing frequently, and that's to do the right thing, do it safely, and respect those around you. I think those are the big things that I always push to everyone. And
Hmm.
so from a skill standpoint, do the right thing also goes back to what I was talking about earlier with common sense. I think that those are real skills, soft, and that also takes a step back to even just soft skills.
Hmm.
I think that if every job you approach, um, I think we can easily get caught up saying work as hard as you can and you're going to go far. And I think there's more nuance to that. I think that you can use common sense, make sure you're doing the right thing, and I think you will go far. I think you'll find what's right for you. And I've been lucky that I've had that at INDOT. You know, I've always had great passion with the job that I do. I oftentimes times tell people I work with, and they make fun of me, that, you know, since started working at INDOT, I've become a real cheerleader for the folks that, and I mean that.
Hmm.
I sounds very cliche, but I mean that. I care about people that do the really good hard work. And, you know, we'll be driving down the road on a state road during winter and with my family, and I'll see our plows go by, and I'll stick my finger out the window and give them a thumbs up. And my wife actually always tells me, they're going to think you're got a different kind of hand gesture. That's not what they'll probably think you're doing. And I'm like, well, okay. But yeah, I'm a real cheerleader for INDOT, so I approach my job since I've been here with passion, because I care. I really do. And so I think that, to come back to the question again, yeah, use common sense, do the right thing, but truly care about what you're doing. When you
Hmm.
see things that don't add up, say something. That doesn't mean you have to do it disrespectfully, but say something. And as long as you're doing the right thing, even if it's outside of our typical work that we do, I think you'll go far. And I think that you'll find that people around you will respect you as well.
I'm glad that you brought up soft skills as well, because I think there's just showing up is sometimes half the battle of and just having a level of work ethic and a positive attitude can take you a long way as well. And just to kind of I piggyback, I think too, there's a sense of pride when you see our maintenance staff and field staff out there taking care of the roads. And so I think I think that definitely is why, one of the reasons why I work for our agency, is because there's a sense of pride. Um,
Definitely.
so um, we're about to wrap up. I'm just wondering if, and we've kind of talked about this in a few different ways, but if you could impart um, any advice on somebody thinking about a career pathway with INDOT, within maybe communications and kind of where they could go. What advice would you give a young person, or maybe even somebody just thinking about a career change?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think the first thing you can do is go to the INDOT website, or look at our jobs site, and look at what a wide variety of careers there are at
Hmm.
INDOT. INDOT has, over 3,000 employees, and there's the vast array of type of careers that we have here. Is surprising to somebody who may not typically work in an INDOT type position. So, that's what I would say is that look at what kind of opportunities we have here. And that goes for folks of all different types of jobs. Someone who may be coming in from a maintenance perspective, but has aspirations for management or,
Hmm.
or project management. If you have the background for that and you'd like to look into that, go for it. Or if you want to go to school, we have great programs at INDOT for tuition reimbursements. So I guess I would say, don't look at INDOT as simply maintenance work, construction work, and those are wonderful positions that I am
Hmm.
so proud of the work that we do. But there's other positions as well. So from whatever interest you have, I think you'd be surprised at what opportunities there are. I'm a perfect example. Like I said, I came in from a radio TV broadcasting background, and I never thought I would work in different positions here at INDOT, and I found that I absolutely love it, and I'm so fortunate to work with people I do. So yeah, I would just say, take a look at what INDOT does, and it's pretty extensive and it's impressive. And the most important thing I would say is we've got great people that work here.
Hmm.
I when I talk to local officials, I make sure folks know, and the public too. It's so easy for the public to see a state worker and just have a preconceived notion about what a state worker does. We know it's out there. We know that people think that state workers, out on the whole, are lazy, or government workers, things like that. And it's so the opposite. The people that I've always worked with genuinely care about what they do. They care about doing the right thing, and we've got a fantastic group here. And so I can't say enough how proud I am. And so we would love for more folks to join our team that have a passion for doing the right thing.
That's great advice, and I think you gotta start somewhere, and just checking out our website's a good first step in the process, and just reaching out even. Hopefully, people that have an opportunity to watch this series of videos will garner interest for them as well, and ideas. So, um, One final question. I see that you're back in the office, so that's great. I was wondering if you could just share maybe something positive that's happened to you recently, or maybe even something that you're looking forward to.
Sure. Well, something positive is actually outside of the office. So as we were talking about earlier, with what the whole world is dealing with right now, there's a lot of folks that have been quarantined and isolated, and I spent plenty of time working out of my house over the last few months, but I have been back in the office several more days lately. But the most positive thing I've got is I've been doing some visits with unit folks and
Hmm.
different sub districts, and twice in the past 2 weeks, I've got a chance to meet with the folks that are doing some paving operations and some construction positions, construction projects, and seeing what they're doing on a daily basis. And it's, like I said, I don't mean it to sound cliche, but it just means a lot to me to meet with the folks that are doing good hard work out there, and hearing what they're doing, and seeing that they enjoy their jobs too. So it's been a fun last week to see several different folks working and hearing good things from them too. So that makes me happy, definitely.
That's great. Well, Matt, I want to thank you again for taking time to share your career journey, and I'm looking forward to sharing this with students and others that are interested in learning about what it is that you do and what we do as an agency. So thank you again for taking time to speak with me this morning.
Happy to do it. Thank you.